So, something new is happening, Evan. Movies are coming out again.
New?
New as movies.
As in new...
Mutants?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that I realized what you were doing. But the reason I bring up New Mutants is because, look, we're excited about these genre movies.
Sure.
We're excited about when they come out and that they are actually starting to come out again. Well, all the way back at episode 330, we did a predictions questionnaire or what have you about Spider-Man Far From Home.
Questionnaire?
Yeah.
Is that like a guy like with the Three Musketeers who just asks, who just inquiries their villains?
Yeah, he's the
I'm a questionnaire.
Yeah, he's right up there with Maggot as one of the new X-Men.
Yeah.
But we're going to go down some questions. And in 330, we invited fellow podcaster Sean from the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast to help us out answer some of these questions. And we did it again.
Sweet.
We got his replies to all these questions that I came up with about New Mutants, and we're going to go through them. So, Evan, are you ready to do this?
Yes.
You ready to do this shit? Here we go. Oh, and before I get to it, his thoughts on New Mutants. He doesn't have high hopes about it. He barely watched the trailers and stuff. So I don't know. He's kind of like where you are. He's like, I might not watch it until it comes out later.
No, it's not even I'm saying I'm not excited. I just there's only certain movies I feel like I have to see in a theater, and this is not one of them. And that's mainly because I don't typically like going to the theater.
Sure. All right, here we go.
Hello, friends. Sean from the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast here. And I've been asked by our good friends, the Bearded Ones, to make some bold predictions, if you will, about the upcoming New Mutants movie. Question number 1. Will there be any major ties to the X universe?
Okay, we'll stop right there. Evan, what are your thoughts? Will there be any major ties to the X universe?
Will there be any ties to the larger X-Men universe? I mean, they call them mutants. Is that enough?
No, I'm thinking like the main line
Like a character?
story. I mean, they're going to bring up Apocalypse or, what happened with the Dark Phoenix or anything like that. Or X-Mansion, those kind of things.
You know what? Just because the Dark Phoenix was really sort of not only the last of those Fox X-Men movies, but also kind of going out with a whimper instead of a bang, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they do not mention any of the big events from the other X-Men movies. Although they should. If this takes place in the same universe, they should be like, you remember that one time that blue guy made that metal guy destroy 5 cities and kill a couple of 100,000 people? Nobody did anything. We should just go ahead and shoot these kids.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm along the same lines as you. I mean, the last movie, Dark Phoenix, didn't do that great. Wasn't that great, and took place.
And also, who produces this movie? This isn't a Fox X-Men movie, is it?
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is Fox made this movie, and then the MCU just owns it now.
Yeah, they had to wait.
Yeah, so I think you're right. There's not going to be any big, because this is kind of like a bottle episode. It all kind of takes place, as far as I understand, at least from the trailer, in this insane asylum, and the last event that we saw in these movies happened 20 years ago, theoretically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be any major. It's not going to talk about Wolverine and the Weapon X program or anything like that.
Right.
Okay, let's see what Sean's got to say.
Yes. I think there will. You may see references in the background.
References in the background, like one of the kids is doing his homework, and out the window you see the X-Men fighting Apocalypse. Nobody says anything.
That'd be great. Yeah. You just see the Dark Phoenix losing her mind between the bars out the window. Yeah.
God, I hate calculus. Oh, she gets this power to destroy the world. Oh, what's a divisible?
Yeah. It's just all this is happening just right outside. So he got pretty loose. You said what, just something in the background, and I was like, no. So maybe our definitions, me and you and Sean, have different definitions of what
Yeah,
related.
I think the way I think about that question, they would have to say something specific.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if one of the kids shows their, like that fire kid in the trailer, I could see somebody going, "Ooh, this reminds me of that Phoenix lady," but I just don't think they will.
Right, and that would count. That would count. All right, here we go.
Something going on with mutants, with the X-Men maybe. Also, I do think you're going to hear names bantied about. I'm sure somebody's going to mention Charles Xavier. So I do believe that there will be ties to the X universe as a whole. But in question 2, will we see any other X-Men besides the ones we see in the trailer?
That's it. Question 2, are we going to see any other X-Men?
Now he's making me rethink my answer. Because if mention of Charles Xavier counts, then I'm going to say yes. Because you've got a movie built around teenagers with mutant powers. Somebody's going to say at some point, "Can't we send them to Charles Xavier?" And then they're going to say no because he's awful.
Right. Okay, and that's the outside universe as a whole, so that would count. I think that would count.
I'm changing my answer then, officially, to yes.
Okay. I'm still going to say no. I don't think they're going to say Xavier. They're not going to say Wolverine. Nothing. But let's get into question 2 of if a X character would show up, besides one that we've seen in the trailer.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Because if you really want this movie to be a completely different vibe, because that's the other thing. It's not even just... it's kind of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's really a different vibe than the movies, and they've had some people from the movies pop up, but really not many. And I think if this movie is trying to be its own thing, especially if it's a darker, like, horror movie turn, then it would kind of defeat the purpose of making it almost a different genre if all of a sudden, Beast shows up. It would completely take you out of it. It's like, oh, this isn't a horror movie. This is fucking blue furry guy.
I think Dreadlocks is going to show up.
He really should, because he's the best character they've ever written.
ever. Yeah.
He was so deep. His backstory was so deep, too. He
Actually,
had so many great things to say.
Right. And his name was fun. They didn't give him a name.
But yeah, my answer to that is no.
No. Yeah, I really think that they're avoiding the X universe as a whole. So nobody's showing up. I think nobody. All right, let's see what Sean's got to say.
That I don't know. I don't think so. I think at the end of it, if you were to have McAvoy show up as Professor Xavier to take these kids to the Institute, would be a blatant ripoff of like Wolverine's origins when Charles shows up at the end of that one. But I can't think of any other reason why you would have other X-Men show up.
I mean, they really shoehorned Wolverine into Apocalypse so distractingly to me.
Right.
That, they could. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah, it'd be just like, hey, I'm another doctor. Just kidding, I'm Wolverine, and I'm going to save the day. Like that would be awful.
Yeah, it'd be terrible.
So I just don't see that happening. Wolfsbane is Scottish. Will she nail it, or will it get iffy?
Yeah, and that's in relation to not just the character, but the accent. She going to get that accent right, Evan?
Who's the actor that plays Wolfsbane?
It's the girl from Game of Thrones.
Then yeah, she'll totally fuck it up. I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Okay, well then you got no reference. So what do you think, though? Scottish accent. You trying to do Scottish. Is it hard?
Yes.
Okay, well...
It is hard. Hang on. Is Ronnie Sinclair?
No, it's...
Maisie Williams, that's right.
Yeah,
Maisie Williams is playing her. And she's English?
Well, that's close, right?
I mean, geographically. But where is she from? I don't want to put her down before I see the fucking movie. But Scottish is fucking hard. Like, Scottish is one of those accents where you might be able to hit a word or two, but you got to really bust your ass to make it consistent.
My name is Wolfsbane.
Accents. Yeah, like that. And if Scottish is one of those accents where it's so easy to do it cartoonishly, so if you want to do it reasonably realistically, but then it's so obvious when you drop it. Like sometimes
that's my goal too. Do it realistically.
Yeah.
Watch out, I'm gonna turn into a wolf.
Yeah, that's New Zealand. So
okay.
You haven't even gotten Scottish yet. And me, when I try Scottish, I always have to go into it by going "och" first, and it's like not every Scottish person starts every sentence with "och." Where are you going? "Och, going to the store."
Oh,
"Och."
staying back now. Watch out, there's a full moon.
Yep.
So if you and I can...
So we've established that Korg is going to be in the new
Oh,
Mutants
okay.
movie.
Hey, yo, my name's Wolfbane. Yeah. So if we can handle it, I think she can handle it too. She's a professional actress.
I mean, right? She just has to do it half as well as we did, and she'll be fine.
I think so.
I think it's going to be a tough one. So I'm going to lean towards it's going to be one of those accents that kind of floats in and out. And then if they get a sequel, somebody's going to tell her, just like Halle Berry, you just shouldn't try anymore.
Right.
We'll just say that you've been working real hard on dropping that accent.
You got that? Yeah, you've been working with an acting coach, a voice coach, to get that American accent down. I'm going to give her the benefit. I think she'll nail it. I think she'll nail it. And here is Sean.
You know, a Scottish accent is always tough. That Scottish brogue is always difficult to pull off. I think it'll come close, but I think it's going to be iffy just because, you know, the Scots, they speak like a completely different form of English than the rest of us. Question number 4. Magic is Russian and Colossus is her brother. Is she going to tell any childhood stories about the two of them?
What do you think?
No.
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 Okay.
Again, like, it also depends on what Colossus we're talking about, because the Colossus in the Deadpool movies is 100% removed from the Colossus that you rarely ever saw in the Fox X-Men movies. Like, I think the last time he was in a movie was X3.
And he's a whole different person, right? Like, they're not
a whole different person.
I mean, actor, but also, like, it's not the same character.
No. Like,
Yeah.
he did talk a little bit. He had, like, about a minute of screen time in X2, and he didn't even have the accent. And, like, he only went metal a couple of times. So I think, I don't know. I mean, it might be fun to have her go, one time I saw my brother get so hard. And all the other kids were like, what? It's like, oh, no. He turned into metal. But no, it's not going to happen.
I think there will be, like, some, you know, moment of bonding, you know, like, my brother, he told me, you know, if you ever get in trouble, just grow a metal shell and you'll be safe, and then it won't have any, like, bearing on anything anybody else has going on. But
I don't think that'll happen, but hey, who knows?
All right, here we go.
Yes, I think there will be some sort of story about her and Colossus, or her and her brother, you know, escaping from, like, a Russian mining colony or something. I'm
See,
sure
I was thinking about this question completely inappropriately. Like, the way I thought about it is I thought everything would just stop, and she would sit down and go, let me tell you about this time me and my brother went camping.
Right.
But, I mean, in that respect, I'm going to change my answer again.
Oh.
I think he brought up a really good point. She wouldn't even have to say Colossus. She could just say, my brother and I escaped this such and such, and now we're in another situation. So I'm going to say yes.
Oh, okay. I'm still saying yes, and it's going to be like, one time my brother and Deadpool were hanging out, and they saved a whole group of people. And
See, that's the other thing, though. I keep thinking of the Fox X Universe Colossus, and now now that people more associate Deadpool with Colossus, you know what? I'm going to change my answer again. She won't.
Final answer.
Because that is a character they don't want you to think about in this movie. This is a completely different take, and they don't want this gritty, dark horror movie to be like, oh, I am Colossus.
One time
Be good.
One time Deadpool broke his arm on my balls.
Yeah, he's a completely different genre. So I'm gonna go back and say no, she won't.
Okay.
That just seems like a natural, again, way to tie it in with the original X universe.
Okay, question 5 is, what is the story? What would the old story be? This is my final answer. It's going to be yes, and it's going to be the time Colossus fell down a well, got scared, and got big in metal, and got himself stuck. And he was stuck like that for a couple days, and nobody could do anything.
It's a media firestorm.
Yeah. Next up.
Question 6. The movie is influenced by One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Will there be any overt references to it? If so, what?
What do you think?
I think all the children will be lobotomized, and then a Native American will throw a fountain through a wall and leave.
There is a Native American in the movie.
Yeah.
I think her name is Mirage, maybe?
Sure.
So, okay, it works out. It all checks.
It wouldn't surprise me if there's some small reference, like a callback that maybe you wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, I think something small, something I really...
If it's going to be anything, it's going to be small. You can't fucking have Jack Nicholson make a cameo.
Right, he gets wheeled past in a gurney, big fat 89-year-old Jack Nicholson. I think it's going to be like that old-timey electroshock setup, that weird rubber thing you got to bite on with the hose.
Yeah, but if they did that, would that be a reference to the movie? Because that's how they really did those things.
Okay, that's a good point. I think there's going to be just a water fountain that everyone keeps looking at, and they're going to be like, "Can you pick that up?" Yeah, I could pick that up.
Yeah, be like a Thor's hammer section.
Right. And they're all going to joke about picking it up just because they think it's funny, unrelated to the movie, but we all know what they're talking about.
Or somebody's going to ask somebody else for a ratchet because they're fixing something.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
Somebody else is going to look right at the camera.
Right. They're all just going to look straight at. Everyone's going to wink, in tune. Boop. Yeah. Or someone's going to just go, you guys can't go outside right now. We got a guy pressure washing the eaves because there's a bunch of cuckoo's nests up there.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, something real subtle.
Very subtle.
Well, I think you're going to see, a nurse Ratchet type character.
I like that idea. I think it's going to be honestly subtle, where it's just going to be, that kind of character archetype.
Type of character, but no one's going to be like, "Hey, Ratchet, come on." Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what I mean. I think if there is anything, it'll be quiet and subtle, or like an Easter egg, something you'd only catch on like a second or third watch.
Right.
I guess it's going to be one of those things that's kind of difficult to do, because if you slip it in there, I think the bulk of your audience doesn't get it. This is, you're trying to appeal to...
To be fair, like that happens with Easter eggs all the time now. Mm-hmm. Like the great thing about an Easter egg in a movie is you don't have to get it to follow the movie, but if you do get it, it just makes the movie a little bit more fun.
Yeah, they could be in there. I mean, people have a lot of fun with license plates,
Yeah, like any kid that saw the first Toy Story realized halfway through that the rug in fucking Sid's house looks like the rug in The Shining. No.
Yeah, no kids pick that up, but eventually people realize. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the point of an Easter egg.
So yeah, there could be a license plate, that just says CCN, and we all know that's Cuckoos Nest. So,
yeah.
And then some numbers. So that could be a thing.
It would be the year that the movie was released.
Right. CCN, then 1975 or whatever the hell.
Right.
Yeah.
You're trying to appeal to a younger generation of comic book fans. I don't know. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is considered a classic. I don't know how much traction it gets with.
No, he didn't intend this.
What happened?
I think it's just his accent or the way he talks. And I'm not making fun of you, dude, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is considered a classic. He kind of said at the side of his mouth like, "Fucking idiots. It's not like one of the best movies ever. It's considered a classic."
Ain't a classic. Yeah.
Not a fucking classic. Play that line again.
I'll try.
I don't know. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is considered a classic. I don't know how much traction it gets with the younger generation.
I don't think they care if it gets any traction with the younger generation if they put a small reference into it. Because again, it's like that just appeals to the people who do get it, and you don't have to get it to get the movie.
Right.
If they had a whole section where the kids just started playing basketball and one of them was on a big guy's shoulders, trying to move him around like a car, and people just why did this? This is completely out of context for this movie. Then I could see people going that reference is too in your face. Mm-hmm. And it kind of destroys the flow of the movie. But yeah, tiny little Easter eggs. I think studios like to do that because it does appeal to not just the younger audience goers, but the older ones, and also increases the chances of repeat viewing.
Yeah. Like if there's a clipboard and you look at all the names and one of them is McMurphy or something.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it would be something small like that, I think.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a we shall see type of situation.
Oh, she's trying to cheat us. You can't
That is
do
a
we
cheat.
shall see. You got to answer.
Sean, that's a cheat right there. Unless he clarifies. Maybe he clarifies.
Will there be a
Whoa, that's a cheat.
Oh, whoa. You can't pull a we shall see.
Oh, man.
Don't ever
Oh.
run for president. Do you believe that the nuclear arsenal should be used against their enemies? We shall see.
I'm going to play his Louise shall see. Hold up. Against our enemies?
So I guess that's a we shall see type of situation.
Yeah, it's never going to fly.
But you're the Democratic nominee, Sean. What about immigration? You know, are we going to try and like close up the borders a little bit?
So I guess that's a we shall see type of situation.
Oh, okay. We shall see.
And this is like even more like black and white. This is a test. This is a quiz.
Yeah.
Did you pull this in school, Sean?
Sean,
I
what's
gotta give
two?
the kid 100 because every answer is we shall see. I don't have anything to combat with that.
Look at this.
You
He
might
said,
know the answer.
"What's the circumference of this circle?" You know, and he just wrote down.
So I guess that's a we shall see type of situation.
No, it's not, Sean. What's the circumference
It's one
of
or the other. It's a yes or no, buddy.
Yeah, A, B, C, or D.
You did not find a loophole in this test, sir. I think we should deduct a point from the overall evaluation when the movie comes out just for that.
Well, yeah, that's true. We'll see, Sean. You know, this is a we shall see situation. So, all right, moving on. No, just goofing around. Moving on.
Yeah.
Will there be a Stan Lee cameo?
This is the big one.
The movie was produced before he died, correct?
This was produced 2 years ago.
When did he die?
Oh, that's a good point. He still could have died 2 years ago.
I mean, his last official Marvel cameo was Endgame.
And that came out last year, which was filmed in at least 2018. So,
2018. Yeah, he died in 2018. In November.
late 18? I mean, I think they could still squeeze one in. Because I know he wasn't going to do any more MCU ones, but hey, he could have done...
You know, I'm going to say that he did die when they filmed it, and you're going to have two teenagers escape from the insane asylum and, like, finger bang each other on top of his grave, and he's going to pop out and go, "Stop that!"
Hey now, you kids!
So, yes, he is going to have a cameo, but my real answer is no. Or we shall see.
Hey now, that's not cool. You can't... both you guys can't do that to me. We shall see, Jason. We shall see. I think there's
My
enough...
real answer is no. I don't think he will.
Okay. I'm going to say yes. Fuck. No, my real answer is no. They're not going to do a Stan Lee cameo. It's going to make absolutely no sense. Let's see what Sean's got to say.
I believe no. You know, I thought they had basically confirmed that the last Stan Lee cameo was in Endgame. Or was it? I can't remember. But I thought they basically said that there were no more Stan Lee cameos after that.
Wait, did he have a cameo in Far From Home? He didn't, did he?
No, he didn't.
Okay, yeah, that was officially Endgame, yeah.
So I don't believe so. I think it'd be nice if they slip in a picture of him somewhere. But no, I don't think he's actually... There's going to be a cameo as we've seen in the past. Let's assume yes. What is it?
All right, let's assume yes. Let's hear what Sean's
I
got to
already
say.
said mine.
I think having him in the insane asylum, thinking he's a watcher would be kind of funny. You know, based upon what we saw from Guardians 2, where he basically is a watcher. I think that would be kind of funny to have him, kind of spouting off some nonsense about that, if that was the case.
I think that's pretty good too. That's a cool answer.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, make him a watcher. And yours was what again?
Oh, the teenagers escape from the insane asylum and take the opportunity to finger bang on top of his grave, and then he pops out and goes, "Stop it."
Do they realize it's his grave?
I don't want the movie to be too cruel, so no.
No, they don't realize. Okay.
No.
Mine is, I think if it had to be a cameo, it's just going to be he's a ghost who died in the asylum, and
Ooh.
he's going to just be all constantly just just going through walls. You know, the whole movie, you just see him going through walls, regardless of the tone of the scene. You know,
Yeah, it'd be fun.
he's doing that. But if he was alive, he's just in a rocking chair. He's the guy who checks people in. You know, he's like, "What's your name? What'd you do? What's wrong with you?" You know, all this stuff.
Sure, that could work.
Yeah, he's the front desk clerk. Yeah. And if I think of a better one, I'll put the show in. I'll screech the show to a halt. Okay, so here we go. We'll keep on moving.
The movie is also influenced by The Shining. Will there be any overt references to that? If so, what?
What do you think?
I guess, again, it depends on your definition of overt. Like, both movies have Jack Nicholson, so maybe Nicholson will make a cameo. But, yeah, I mean, and if we're talking references as far as, I don't know, shot composition or something like that, then yes, absolutely. I just don't think they'll go like, look at those two twins in that hallway.
Right.
Or, you know, they'll stop the whole movie so an old lady can get out of a tub naked. But there will be something. There will be a shot that's a direct homage to The Shining. There will be like another carpet pattern or something like that. Yes, I think so.
You're right. It won't be something like a real crazy, like an old lady getting out of a tub. It'll be an old man getting out of the shower.
Yeah, that way you know, oh, they're spinning it around. Yeah, I like that. They're doing the opposite.
Yeah, real subtle. No, it'll be an old man getting ready for a shower. So it's just him going, like, okay, here we go. And you just reveal how sore-ridden he is.
That'll be Stan Lee's cameo.
Oh, yeah, that's it. He's like, oh, time to take a shower.
Old man getting into the shower.
And he's also trying to, I don't know, bite your face or whatever that other lady did.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I will say yes.
Okay, like real, like cinematography wise, I think it's there's gonna be music choices, you know, that
Sure. I could see that easily.
like those kinds of tones is gonna be really Shining-esque in the soundtrack.
I mean, especially whenever you already know the filmmakers have said that these are our influences. That means that, you know, they're stealing some shit from the way those movies were made.
Yeah. I guess we're just trying to figure out what aspect are they going to steal. Yeah.
My guess is going to be that there's going to be a shot in the movie that is very Kubrick-esque.
Okay.
Somebody walking down a long hallway or something.
It's going to come out that he made one of the actresses do like 80 takes over something really monotonous and silly.
Do you know that baseball bat thing was like over 100 takes, I think?
Right?
The whole thing of them going up the stairs and him swinging the bat at her. I'm like, look, Stanley, you might have been a genius, but fuck you.
Yeah, you're also a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go, Sean.
Yep.
That I don't think so. I think that, I mean, it's influenced by The Shining in the fact that you're kind of trying to tell a story, a horror story, in a confined space. I think that's what the influence of The Shining is going to have. I think One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is easier to do because they're in a mental institution, which is what One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest took place in as well. I think with The Shining, it's a little bit more difficult because it was a hotel. I mean, maybe you see a kid riding a tricycle at some point down the hallway. That would kind of make sense, maybe. But I don't think you're going to, like, anything, like, really blatant as far as, you know, maybe one of the rooms is the same room as the room you weren't supposed to go into or something. I don't see it being, you know, blatant, but, you know, who knows?
I like that. Maybe the number.
Come on, man. Who knows? He's just trying to sidestep this whole thing.
Well, just to defend Sean a little bit, I asked him to do this today, you know, so
Yeah,
you know,
but still, like, just give me your. You sent me the questions to read, and I didn't read all of them, so I'm answering off the top of my head.
Yeah. But what was the room number?
237.
237. Yeah. So I think that could be clever, you know.
Oh, easily they could stick a 237 in there somewhere. Not even a room, just, you know, your patient 237 or something like that.
Right.
People do that shit all the time anyway. In fact, it's kind of passé. The amount of times people have shoved like little nods to The Shining into movies and used 237 somewhere.
Well, that's
like,
a good point. It's overdone, so you got to find those real subtle things.
But if the question is, will there be something? Then absolutely there will be.
Yeah, I think so too.
Will the movie have any MCU references in it?
No.
You don't think so?
Nope. I think that my impression of what they're trying to do with this movie is to make it completely sort of its own thing. And at this point, if they mention the X universe, and since it's still like a Fox X-Men movie, no, they're not going to talk about the MCU.
Yeah, I think they're not going to reference the MCU, but I think that they are going to leave doors open to where they can retroactively incorporate this movie into the MCU.
Now, if they do a post-credit sequence, does that count?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still gonna say no. I'm gonna stand on my soapbox here. I think their idea is this to be really a completely separate movie. It's almost like the Netflix shows, even though they do kind of reference the MCU, they really want it to be their own genre and their own thing.
Right.
And they were much more superhero oriented. This is like a horror movie. I don't think they're going to want to associate with the MCU.
You don't think they're even going to go like as far as they went with like, hey, have you heard of the big green guy? You know?
Right. No, I don't think they're going to do that.
So vague. Yeah, I think it's going to be their goal with this movie is fuck the X universe and don't mention the MCU universe unless this movie's great and unless, but like it's in its own bubble. It has nothing to do with anything. But that means we could then say, you know what, by the way, this was part of the MCU and these characters are going to be in here and it's going to be years and years later, but it might eventually become part of the MCU. But you're right. Not right now. Not happening. Let's see what Sean got to say.
Well, the answer to that is no.
Well, that's definitive. Oh.
Hey, thanks, Sean.
There's no we shall see.
Taking a fucking stand.
There's no we shall see with this one. All right.
I think Disney and Marvel, the only reason this movie is getting released is just because they want to make their money back on it. You know, that's what they're hoping.
Yeah.
You know, even at the beginning of the last trailer, you know, where you see the Marvel logo, it says in association with Marvel. It doesn't say Marvel Studios. It's not a Marvel Studios production. It's in association with Marvel. So that right off the bat should tell you that this is not a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie at all. I don't think they want this to be their introduction for the mutants into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So no, I don't think there's going to be any references to the MCU at all. But let's assume yes. What MCU characters could be featured and what would they do?
So the question is, let's just say MCU is shoehorned in. What's happening? What could it be?
Oof. God, I don't even know. I don't know. At the end of the movie, they walk by the water fountain and Ant-Man's drinking water out of it. That's lame, I know. But
that's way lame. You can't... No, get bigger, man. Like, okay, Goliath,
well,
man.
He could get bigger.
Oh, shit. He's, Yeah, I like that. Ant-Man's trying to break him out. He's like, look, I heard about how good you guys are. I'm going to get you out of here. It's another caper.
Yeah, I need you for a caper.
Yeah. I think if it had to be a MCU, it's going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy land on the roof, and Thor came, he's coming back to get like across the street from this psych ward is like some awesome brewery, and that's the only place that sells the beer he likes. So they land, and you hear everything. You hear them bickering on the roof, which is easy to do. It's just voiceover,
Oh, so you never see them. You just, like, in the middle of all this horror, in the middle of some sort of scene where a kid sets somebody on fire, you hear up top, like, where are you going, Thor? Oh, there's a bar across the street that I'd really love to drive. Well, get back on the ship. We got to get back to the thing in a second. Oh, just a minute. It won't take long. I am Groot.
Yeah. And they're like, we got to go find Gamora, the new Gamora. Come on, we got to go.
And nobody in the movie mentions it. Like, the actors didn't even know that was part of the story. They just put it in post.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And they just hear the ship taking off, and the frame shakes as if the whole building is shaking.
Right.
And nobody acknowledges it. No, that could work.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
I think, if anything, maybe you see something in the background on a TV about the death of Tony Stark, the disappearance of Captain America. Maybe you tie it in somehow where, they talk about the new Captain America.
That would be easy to do. Just
Could be.
CGI something on a TV screen just to kind of place it if you wanted to place it, you know. There
Yeah,
you go.
I mean, they've done that enough in the other movies just to acknowledge, like, hey, this is the same universe. We got Captain America on the TV.
Yeah.
You know, but
With
yeah,
the,
I mean, that'd
Falcon.
be easy to do.
Yeah.
And Winter Soldier TV show's coming out soon. It's not going to be if there's anything at all, it's not going to be something that you're going to like have thrown up in your face. It's going to be something in the background that ties it in. It's not going to be something. You know, there's no character that's going to show up in this movie. If anything, it's going to be like a sketchy connection like you get with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was initially supposed to be us all one big happy universe, and by the end of it, it's not one big happy universe. So, I don't see why they would do that. I think they want to keep this at arm's length from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They don't want it to touch. Because they want to introduce mutants in their own way. Disney just kind of got saddled with this movie when they bought 20th Century Fox. So that's it. Those are the 11 questions I've been saddled with. I hope I've answered them to your satisfaction. I'm sure I didn't, but, you know, who knows. But if you're interested in hearing more of my docile tones and hijinks and shenanigans, you can find me and my co-host Ian at the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're on most podcatchers. We're very easy to find. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd, and you'll see our fine logo. Also, we're on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd. Again, very easy to find. We're the only ones. We own our content. When you Google us, we're what you find. So there you go. Again, thank you. I hope I've answered these questions to your satisfaction, and have a great rest of your show.
All right, Sean. Thanks again, buddy. Yeah, those are great answers, and we'll see. We'll see. I don't know when I'm going to get to watch the movie, but and likewise with you, Evan. I imagine you're just going to watch it on Disney Plus in a couple months.
Right.
But I wanted us to get our answers down, definitive, except for Sean on that one answer. But just to get our answers down, and we will revisit this whenever we all get to watch the movie again.